In 1990, a young pastor wrote, when the calendar advances to 2025, 35 years from now, what will your children remember about your relationship with them? And the pastor continued, will they remember it was the house that was cleaned and straight, the farm chores that consumed so much time? Or will it be the times that you read to them and prayed with them? The times when your dad made you feel extraordinarily special? That young pastor was me, and I never envisioned I'd be preaching it 35 years later to see how it was different. Boy, has life ever changed, and I think the way we need to father has changed too. Back then, we had phones on the wall. Remember that? It was attached, and you couldn't move more than 6 feet away. The words that I typed were on a modern electric typewriter, where you put paper in, and if I made a mistake, I had to take the cartridge out, and I had to put a correction cartridge in. How many of you had that kind of experience? Computer games that entertain so many children today, they did not exist back then. A mouse, that was a rodent to be feared. Not something that you clicked on your computer. While in many ways life has become easier, I think it's become far more difficult to be a father. I remember when my kids grew up, a road trip was to Fall Creek for a basketball game or to Fairchild. And now my grandkids fly to soccer meets. They live in Anchorage, they fly to Salt Lake City, Utah, Las Vegas, Seattle, Phoenix. I'd never have dreamed of that. How much more difficult it is. Those road trips to Fairchild and to Fall Creek seem to be pretty insignificant. And because of all the electronics and the technology and the diversions and the activities of today, it is harder to be a father. Today we remember Trinity Sunday in the church, and on the calendar, Father's Day in the U.S. And we celebrate both of those today. We take note that one of the names for the first person of the Trinity is Father. And earthly fathers are to reflect the love of the heavenly, the eternal Father. Like Augustine said, you can't cram everything about God into your head because he's too vast. Do you think it's possible to cram everything about the Trinity into one sermon? And then we have to add Father's Day to it. So we're just going to take a little slice of Father. A father needs to engage. Let's talk about non-engagement. Sometimes some popular song catches the problem so well in the shortfall of human beings and of human fathers. Harry Chapin made famous a song. You know what? Cats in the cradle and he what? Grew up to be. You went to the end a little too soon, but you're right. It is about fathers, but moreover, it's a lament of a father who isn't engaged with his children. Children are a profound gift of God, and we're not engaged with them. The boy grows up to be just like his dad, disengaged, distant. The chorus summarizes Chapin's thoughts so well. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy grew up like the man on the moon. When you coming home, Dad? I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know, we'll have a good time then. Then the end of the song, the fourth verse, is 30 years later after the birth of that child. The boy's grown. He's an adult now with a family of his own. And the years that were spent without contact, without engagement, distant, those years have passed like water under the bridge. And their relationship was never nourished. Time was not spent together. And listen to the lament of Chapin. I've long since retired. My son has moved away. I called him just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. And he said, I love you too, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids have the flu. It's nice talking to you, Dad. Nice talking to you. And as he hung up the phone, it occurred to me, he had grown up just like me. My boy, just like me. A lament of a relationship that really wasn't engaged. You know, friends, you're probably like me. 35 years have passed since I wrote those words, what would Father's Day be like? And I can look back and I can, with the heart of Chapin, say, you know, I did some things well, and other things I didn't so well, do very well at all. I fell far short in many ways. I'd like to think of it as human weakness, but the Bible calls it sin. I was to bring up my children in the nurture and the admonition of the Lord. I didn't always succeed. For this, I have to admit my failure and ask God and my children for forgiveness. I do it knowing that my God in Jesus Christ died for my sins, paid for all of them. The cross tells me I'm forgiven. And I have to take comfort in that. I am not a perfect dad, and I don't think I'm talking to any perfect dads here. But the good news is God forgives. So that's a problem with non-engagement. But the Bible talks about parents that are engaged, not with the ring, but in activity. The words of Deuteronomy 11:8. You shall therefore impress these words of mine on your heart and on your soul, and shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontals on your forehead. These words of Moses encourage, if not demand, fathers to engage with their children. The Bible is replete in engagement. We have a God who isn't distant, but he wants to engage in humanity, and he has done it throughout history, especially in Jesus Christ. And if we are going to be serious about engaging our children in Christian homes, we have to be cognizant and aware that this is a daily process. Bringing your kids to church is important because it shows that you value God. Kids may not remember the content of the sermon. You know what? I don't think adults remember it very long. That's why I can preach the same sermon over and over again. I can get away with it. But they know that it's important. And some things do indeed sink in. So, parents, make it a goal of yours to engage with your children in talking to them about God, church, and religion. And then the final point I want to make is it should be with intense intentionality. You shall teach them to your sons, talking with them when you sit in your house, when you walk along the road, and when you lie down, and when you rise up. Even a casual reading of these verses in Deuteronomy, you leave with the impression that you need to teach all the time. You are the primary teacher of your children about God and about life. When you sit, when you rise, when you walk along the road, it doesn't exclude many opportunities. You just have to be there intentionally, with intense intentionality, teaching your kids. All these acts, they're going to seem small, but they'll have a profound impact. Time spent in the pew, times of praying those bedside prayers, the effort taken to attend confirmation classes, the discussion of what the pastor said in his sermon. Someone said that you should at noon discuss the pastor's sermon, but don't have roast pastor. That, you were highly critical of the pastor, what he said, where he said it, but you should discuss it. Fathers, be intense, be intentional in sharing the good news of God's love for us and for your kids. Amen.